Mute Maniac here, and in this video, I'm going to focus specifically on map crafting, and I'm going to be using the map stash. Alright? I am a YouTuber. I mostly, historically, have built content around the game called King God Castle. It's a mobile game, but I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile, and by a lot, I'm at 500 hours so far. I really enjoy the game, and so this will be my first piece of content. And I want to talk specifically about dealing with maps. I think that this is something that could be useful for any endgame player. Getting your maps maxed out is going to have a dramatic impact on your enjoyment of endgame. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're gonna have problems. Okay, so for the sake of trying to be very, very specific with what I'm talking about to eliminate rambling, I'm going to assume that you have the map stash, as you definitely should if you're at endgame. If you don't, you can still apply these methods, but I'm going to go through it. So, in the map stash, every one of the tier maps, you get to have 6 little micro tabs. It's really convenient. And it does not sort what is good map and what is not a good map, because it's up to us, the players, to decide what we feel like good maps are and what are bad maps. So I am farming 15 maps, and so what I've done is I've renamed my tabs Bad Maps, Normals, Playable, Good Maps, and then I have my sort pile. These are maps I haven't touched yet. So, and if my maps aren't ready to be played with, or haven't been ready to be enhanced with exalts or anything like that, I leave them in here. Okay. Now, finding normal maps is amazing, and the reason why it's amazing is these are the ones that you can get a lot of really solid prefixes on with omens. We'll talk about that in just a second here. So, what am I determining a good map is? A good map, in my opinion, is a map that has rarity of items, right here. Experience, if I can get experience, that's great. Or quantity of items. Increased quantity of items found in an area. So rarity of items, quantity of items. And sometimes if I don't have those, I might have rarity of monsters. But those are my good maps. These are the maps that if I'm going to host a full party, these are the maps that I like, that I will use. My playable maps will typically have increased pack size and rare monsters. So this has increased magic monsters, right? It's a playable map. This has experience plus increased monsters. This has increased magic monsters and increased number of rare monsters. So that's what I'm saying. These are playable maps. They're not going to have the quantity. These are not quantity bombs. But if I'm pathing across the map and I'm basically going to towers, these will at least give me some things on the drops. These are my bad maps. My bad maps do not have any increased rarity to monsters. They have no increased rarity of magic monsters. And they don't do any quantity, or they do nothing to the items. These are garbage maps. These maps typically kind of suck. And I do my best to filter these out. Or if I see that, like this one, monster damage penetrates resistance. This fucking sucks. Like, I do not want to deal with that. So there are some things that I will just not want to deal with. And they go in my bad maps, and I keep the bad maps just in case I run out of playables and I need to farm more 15s. Or, honestly, I sell these. Like, some people are, like, desperate for 15 maps. I'll sell them, like, 5 bad maps. I'll tell them, these are garbage, but you can farm tier 15 maps from these. So, with that being said, let's talk about where I go from here. So, my normals. These are actually very, very valuable. So, but it's time for me to start getting more maps. I love finding normals. I throw them in the normal bucket, and when it's time for me to really get the most out of these, I'll go to Alva, and I will do some currency exchange, and I'll go to Omens, and I'm going to get this one right here. Omen of Sinistral Alchemy. So basically, this is going to load up all my prefix modifiers whenever I use an alchemy orb. So I'm going to get a bunch of these, and they're a little expensive, but it is what it is. In this case, I'll do 2. I have 30 exalts, and I'll go from there. Now, I typically farm. When I farm, I'm farming Simulacrum stones, and I'm farming breach stones. And a lot of times I can get stuff for those. So like I have 175. I'll trade these for exalts, and I'll trade these breach stone for exalts. And I use these to build more maps. So I get those back to exalts, and I use those exalts to get omens, right? That's kind of what I'm doing. So I go back to my stash. Sometimes I get lucky, and I find a map that's already pretty playable, and I'll use exalts, and that's all I'll have to do. But sometimes I don't. I run out of those. So what I'll do is, in this case, I have 2 omens, so I'll drop 2 normal maps here, and then I'll right-click on this so it fires, and now I'll go use an alchemy orb. So right away, this gave me 11% increased quantity of items found, and 20% increased rarity of items found. And that's because of the omen. That makes this a good map, almost guaranteed every time. So I'm going to right-click this again. I'll use my alchemy. And now I got rarity of items found, and I got increased packs. So I still have a few more prefixes I can throw on here, so that's when I'll use my exalts to finish these up. And now I have increased rarity, and I have increased rarity and quantity on this one. So these are ready for my good pile. So it cost me 30 exalts to get those 2 good maps, and that's just kind of how it is sometimes. Now, those omens, they're not always 15. Sometimes they're like 6, right? And so, I'll get them when I can. If I know that if I notice that the omens are cheaper, then I'll grab those. So for me, I'll go to currency exchange. I'll go to I need to refresh my exalts. So I'm going to grab some exalt orbs, and I'm going to go sell my shards. The shards are my currency to get to refill my exalts. I keep everything that's worth it, kind of. So as I'm farming, this is kind of what I'm doing. So let me go to, if I can find the damn breach stones. Or there we go, splinters. Okay, so I think I have like 175 splinters. So I'll go 175. I'll delete this. Looks like I can get 58 more exalts. I'll place order. And now I have my exalts. Holding control right click grabs those. Go back to currency. I'll dump all my X's in here. I have some divines that I farmed as well. So, we're doing pretty good. Okay. So with that being said, I have some more exalts. So I'm going to go back to Alva. Currency exchange. I'm going to go find more of those omens. And I'll throw some X's in here. And it looks like I can get another 4 more of these. And place order. Now I'm going to get, because those maps are so good, I'm going to get this is going to be where I find divines. If I find a divine, that's 450 exalts. So all of that's where my divines are going to come from, especially if I juice my maps. So we'll talk about that in a second. So now I have my alchemy guys here, and I'm going to start finishing up my maps. So I go back to my maps. I'm going to grab some more normals. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 more normals. Right click, go back to my currency, and now I'm going to quickly go through and get these to be what they need to be. So we'll do this. All right. So now let's see what I have here. Increase rarity of items, increase quantity of items. Increase rare monsters. It's not the best. This is way better, but I'll take it. Increase rarity of items. 98% increase rarity of items. And 75% increase rarity of items. So boom. This is actually solid. It's worth every nickel that I put into this. I need to now go back and get some more exalts. So I really like chaos orbs for these. So I'll grab chaos orbs. 1 chaos orb gets me 10 exalts. I will find a lot of chaos orbs in these. So let's see. It doesn't like what I'm trying to do. Let's get rid of this number. And Why don't you like this? Do I not have enough Chaos Orbs? How many do I got? Am I blind? What's happening? What is happening? I have 21 Chaos Orbs. Let's go back to Alva. Currency exchange. I want to trade. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I did it backwards. Ignore me. So I want Exalts. You need Exalts to max out the maps, and I have Chaos Orbs. Great. So 12 Chaos Orbs equals 96 Exalts. Perfect. Now, it's up to me to find those Chaos Orbs to replace those. And this is all part of the damn process. So now I have 10 Chaos Orbs left. I now have some more Exalts. And my Exalts are going to be what I use on my map. So I'm going to grab this, hold Shift, and I'm going to finish building my maps out. And so now my maps are finished. I have some. I got some rarity of monsters here. I didn't get anything too good. I mean, it's all freaking gambling basically, but not bad. We finished these out. It increases our Waystone drop chance, and nothing that I got from the Exalts ruined these. I don't have like for me, 30% reduced elemental resistance. It's like a no play. I do not want to die, especially at the level that I'm at. I will lose lots of XP. So now. Those maps are good. These are now good maps. I like those maps. Now I have these maps. Now these maps are blue, so I can't do the Omen trick with the blue ones. So I basically just have to go back to currency. I have to utilize my augmentations. I have to utilize my regals. And now I'll utilize my exalts. This is a more expensive... It's like less expensive, more expensive, because like the chances that I'm gonna have a shit map is very high. So this map has chilled ground, has slightly increased pack size, but those are for normal monsters. We have sort of okay magic, and I don't have any. There's no prop. Like this is playable. It's not a bad map. Magic monsters, and it's a playable map. And this is... It's playable. I mean, rare monsters have an additional modifier. That sort of helps with drops. This is actually, with the increased number of rare monsters, I would say that this is like a crappy, but I would consider it a good map. So I throw my good maps in here, and I throw my playable maps in here. Alright. So, with my good maps, what else am I doing with these? Well, I only want to use these when I have 3 or 4 towers clustered together. And I also want to do something else to these maps. You have 2 options. One, you can use Val Orbs and corrupt the map. You have like a fucking 4% chance to getting a level 16 map when you do that. That's just how it is. Another option that you have is you can kind of guarantee it's going to be a good map by doing this. Go to Alva, Currency Exchange. You're going to go to Deliriums, and you're going to grab Distilled Greed. Okay? So I'm going to do, I have a lot of maps, so I want like 40 of these. So 40 of these, I need 5 Chaos Orbs to get 40. That's an easy trade. Easy trade. Unfavorable trade ratio. Did I make a mistake? Sure. I mean, I'll do that too. Alright. Now I have all this greed. Fantastic. Now I go back to my maps. Back to the maps. I'm going to go grab my good maps. Alright? And now my inventory is looking a little crappy because I haven't cleaned it up yet. So I'm just going to move all this stuff over here, so I can get to my maps when they happen. And I'm going to move all my maps into my inventory. Great. So now I'm going to right-click on my Distilled Greed, and I'm going to start dropping my good maps in here. So what am I doing? I am adding an additional 24% rarity of items found in area, and I'm making myself 30% delirious. That means there's going to be more monsters. And it adds, sometimes it can add up to 5 more unique mobs in that. And you're also going to start getting those simulacrum, sharps. That's the currency that I'm using to trade for exalts to then enhance more maps. So it's like a circle, basically. But I get divines. This ultimately means I'm increasing the rate in which I'm going to get divines, and that is all that matters. I will... Exalts and Chaos Orbs are here to keep this going. So I pick up every Chaos Orb that I can find. That's all I really care about. If I'm playing with lots of people, and I'm not trying to piss off the players that are in my party, I will pretty much leave the Exalts, and I will only pick up the Chaos Orbs. It kind of is like, alright, that's being a good host, because like at least they're getting something. But these Chaos Orbs are going to be how I get this. Alright, so now all of my air quote good maps are better. Because they're all getting the 30% Delirious, and they're all getting 24% increased rarity. On top of whatever else I determine makes it a good map. So now I go back to Stash, I'll drop all these in my good maps. I really won't do this with my playable maps. Like I said, I've invested a lot of Exalts now into these maps. And so out of these maps, I'll probably, like, if RNG is nice to me, I'll probably pull 4 Divines. If RNG is not nice to me, I'll pull 0. I've seen a lot. Now, I like doing these on Breach maps. I like doing these on on things like that. So, now, when I go to my map, when I go to my actual world map, I should say, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 towers. If I can get tablets on these towers that are specific to rarity or quantity of items dropped, that's what I want. And so this tower right here, I'll probably throw a breach tablet on there. And then all of these are going to keep stacking and give me what I need. So right here, I already have I have increased quantity. So 16% increased quantity and 31% increased rarity. It's not bad. This isn't like super juiced. And it's because I didn't have the tablets that I needed, but that just is what it is. If I go to, I think I have an area over here. Like, these are significantly better. 43% quantity of items. That's what you want. You want lots of towers loaded with quantity. And then this one is 19% quantity of breach, 41% rarity. So, your towers come into play. If let's say I need to get from here to here. I will not use my good maps. I'll use my playables to make it across to get over here. Not until I have at least 3 or 4 towers with tablets inside them am I going to do anything that's a good map. Now, I just so happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4 towers over here, and I have some breaches. So, I have increased breach tablets, increased rarity of monsters, and stuff like that. So, this might be an area that I might consider doing that. Now, if I go back to my stash, I have my tablet stash. So, quantity of items. It's a hard one to get. Quantity of items dropped by map bosses, not that great. Quantity of item, increased rarity of items. I don't have any more quantity items. So that's a whole other thing. I have to hunt down these precursor tablets and get those. So here is a 20% quantity of items found in your maps. That's huge. This is an amazing one. If I can get 4 of those in a centralized area, that means I will have 80%, and from there I can then use my other maps, and divines are going to fall like candy, right? So that's what you have to do. That's how I'm doing my maps. I am sitting on 14 divines. These are all farmed and slowly grinded to get to this point. If you look at my world map, I wish it told you, I've probably done a little over 300, 400 maps. My gear that I'm wearing is worth somewhere along the lines of 20 divines. I'm a summon class, but everything was either farmed from the maps that you see here, or running Ultimatum and trying to farm for jewels. But that's essentially that. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. There might be other ways to do this, but this is the way that I do things. And I've had a lot of success with this way. One last tip, when you're running these maps, try to have a full party. So 4 towers, as much quantity and rarity on the towers as you can get. Make sure your maps are good. Make sure they're greed infused. And then run and then try to get a full party. If three or 4 players. And in the party description say stick together or kick. Because you do not get their Magic Find added to the group's Magic Find if you're not together. So that's a whole other thing. You can still get divines without players, but with players, you're going to benefit a lot more. All right. Peace out, guys.